Hey guys, welcome back to the Hangar. My name is Sam, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about manufacturing. From the size we manufacture to the way we manufacture, you guys are going to get a little bit of an inside scoop to how we manufacture your airframes here at the Hangar RC. Let's go. All right guys, first and foremost, I need to get a couple items of housekeeping done. This is our series where you're gonna learn some of the inside things that we do. We have other videos in this series. We'll put links to some of them down below or up above. Make sure you head on over and watch those videos. Also, if you like our stuff, if you like what we're doing here at the Hangar RC, I know it's been a bit. We've had some things come up. We've been kind of quiet for a little bit now. A lot of that has to do with the FAA and their regulations and what they were going to do. We were kind of waiting. Our products have been out of stock because of that. Now that we have further insight from the FAA of what they're planning on doing, we're full steam ahead. So you'll see a lot more stuff coming out of us. You'll see a lot more things coming from us in the future. So like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Also, a special welcome to the students at Utah State University and Utah State University Extension. They're joining us in this series. Utah State University, or USU, has an aviation and aeronautical design program, and we are supporting them by donating a lot of resources and a lot of time so that their students can have the best education they need or the best education they can get to enter the aviation world. Here at the Hangar, we believe in education and we believe in the students. And so that's why we're sponsoring and helping out where we can the students at Utah State University and USU Extension. For those of you who don't know, we are partnered with Utah State University and USU Extension for their students to design and have cut or manufactured an airframe. So what they're going to be doing is their students are going to be designing airframes, sending us the files. We here at the Hangar RC are going to manufacture their airframe that they designed and send it back to them so that they can build it and see if it flies. The sponsor of today's episode is our good friends over at the Aviation RC Noob podcast. If you haven't heard of them, look them up. They are amazing. Matt and Joe do a wonderful job in explaining from the basics all the way through your first flight of what you'll need and how to do things, how to build. The guys over at the Aviation RC Noob podcast, Matt and Joe, they're amazing. Love them to death. They're good friends of the show here at the Hangar RC. So find them on all your streaming platforms, your Apple Podcasts, your Amazon Prime, Spotify. I even think they're on YouTube. They have a website, aviationrcnoob.com. Go over there and you can find their podcast on all your streaming platforms. Once again, today's sponsor, Aviation RC Noob Podcast. Go check them out. We'll put a link in the description below, and we're going to be referencing their podcast because they have a wonderful beginner series and covers everything plus more that we're covering in these series today. So thanks to Matt and Joe and the Aviation RC Noob podcast for sponsoring this episode. All right, in today's episode, we are going to be talking about manufacturing. First things first in the manufacturing process is the way we manufacture our kits is they're laser cut. That means we have a CO2 laser. It happens to be a 100-watt CO2 laser. If you're interested, we've had some people. We have a laser episode. It's a little bit late, but we have a laser episode coming out, and it steps us through picking up our laser, setting up the whole 9 yards. We've had some people ask what brand our laser is, and it's a Jiwiki. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but we'll put a link to their website in the description below. Jiwiki is a Chinese manufacturing company, but they're a little bit different than the blue lasers that you see like on eBay. These guys manufacture parts for all the major laser companies in the United States. When we were first looking at getting our laser, we wanted to get one from the United States just because the hassle of importing and paying all the fees and finding a broker and finding a ship to bring it across the pond. it was kind of a pain in the butt. However, once we learned that GWiki manufactured parts for the American-made laser companies, we learned that we could save between $3 and $5 grand on our laser. We definitely put a call into GWiki over in China, and GWiki was wonderful to work with, and we got our laser from them. So just in case you're curious, you'll see some shots of it. We'll put some B-roll of the laser working. It was well worth it to go to China to get them. I'm usually not one to say that because I like things that are American made and stay here in the States. But when I found out most of the lasers here in the States parts were made in China, you know, I wasn't opposed to saving a few $1,000s. Second of all, our laser is a 100 watt CO2 laser, which means it has a 100 watt tube. It's actually pretty crazy to see the tube and the antifreeze. It has a chiller, the antifreeze that runs through that. It makes it a really bright neon green. It's really kind of cool. Second of all, manufacturing the foam board kits. We use Dollar Tree foam board, if you haven't already guessed, for all our kits, and we actually use the same stuff you do when you go purchase at Dollar Tree. It's the exact same foam board. It's made by Adams Ready Board, and we pick that up in bulk, and we're able to use that to manufacture your plane kits. Our skins are printed on a high quality art paper with an inkjet printer. That way we can customize them on the fly. Just so you know, when you place an order for one of our kits, we always build those kits to order. We don't stock a whole lot of pre-built kits in a big warehouse somewhere. We always build to order. So when your order comes in, that's why it takes 3 to 5 days, because we hand build that kit and send it out with love. The next thing on the laser is our size. So when we first started 3.5 years ago plus, we were looking into the most economical shipping method for you. It turns out that to save you guys as much money as possible, the 13 by 30, actually it's 13 by 29.5 size is the perfect shipping size to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to UPS and USPS, which is the United States Post Office or the United States Postal Service. So that's what size we ship our kits in. Now, for those of you at USU watching, you need to make your airplanes fit that size. We could have you put them on a full 20 by 30 sheet of foam board, but because we want you to learn about the manufacturing process as well, we're going to constrain you to that size, which means most likely your wings are going to have to be split down the leading edge. And we'll talk more about that in a future episode. 13 by 29.5 technically is what you have to design your plane from. Now, keep in mind that you can do foldovers, which means we can print on a 20 and fold it over if there's a piece that requires that. But that requires a little bit more work. So that manufacturing size, once again, is 13 by 30, 13 by 29.5. 13 by 29.5 is what we consider a sheet of foam board. Yes, there's a little bit of leftover scrap, which we try to utilize, but that is the most economical shipping, and we here at the Hangar RC are all about saving you money, because we want you to be able to get into the hobby as cost effective as possible. That's another reason why during the whole pandemic and all the inflation that's going on in the United States right now, we have done our best not to raise our prices. It wasn't till recently when our products became back in stock after the whole FAA mess that we had to raise our prices to compensate for the cost of our raw materials. When you're designing your airframes, keep that manufacturing size in mind. We use common materials like you guys do, from barbecue skewers, rubber bands, hot glue, paper clips, anything that you can find, paint sticks, anything that you can find at your local hardware store, or say maybe Walmart, even your dollar store. In fact, that's not a bad idea. We should do a dollar store challenge and build an airframe from all the parts you can find in dollar store, minus electronics. That's a good idea. I'll keep that stored away. Once again, manufacturing, the reason why we do it is mainly for shipping costs, and it just makes it for really nice. It fits in our boxes really well. Our supplier of boxes actually had a box that was that perfect size. They called it a tennis racket box, believe it or not. So for those of you who play tennis, I guess, you probably already knew that, but I didn't. until about 3 or 4 years ago when I started doing research on this whole thing. Other things for manufacturing that you need to know. When we import our Illustrator files into our laser cutting software, which by the way, we use a software called Lightburn, we have a specific color nomenclature or coding system that your files need to have. Once we get into the design process and how to design an RC aircraft from scratch, we will talk you through what those colors mean and why a score line has to be, let's say, red, and why a cut-through line, let's say, has to be black. Typically reference lines are blue. There's some other colors in there, but we'll go through each one of those in the next episode. So stay tuned for that. With that being said, kind of a shorter episode, but we had to let the students at Utah State University know what our manufacturing constraints were. If you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything.